may have lifted at this point. So a little bit of good news coming out of Jackson County here in the Florida Panhandle. We're going to go back to our radar scans, and we're going to take off that. So the storm structure is kind of starting to fall apart a little bit, but as it continues its northerly or northeasterly trajectory, it's going to clip far southeastern Houston County. For those that are in that area, we're going to zoom in for you all. So Malone to Greenwood to not quite Gordon, but Lucy's in here somewhere, and Crosby as well. There you go, along 95. Lucy to Crosby, you guys are inside the tornado warning. It's not quite to your area. This is not a time where I would tell you you need to be in your safe place right now because it's pretty far away from you. And so, you know, we want to give timely updates and accurate updates as well. So right now, what we know is that a tornado has been on the ground as it was moving into southern Jackson County and toward Marianna. It may have lifted at this point, but Marianna and Greenwood folks still need to be close to, if not in their safe place, because it has been a confirmed tornado within the last 10 minutes and may still be producing a tornado or have enough rotation where we could see another tornado drop here soon. But if you're closer to Donaldsonville, Lucy, Crosby, we don't think that you guys necessarily need to be in your safe place just yet because you have plenty of time, and this may very well lift and weaken by the time it gets there. But know where your safe place is and stick with us here as we continue doing this coverage here on WDHN. If your power goes out, it went out for us, it may go out for you. You can use your phone, Facebook Live, as well as WDHN.com. We're streaming on both of those sites, so we will get the latest information out to you immediately, even if you lose power. Hopefully that 4G or 5G is working well for you there. All right, let's zoom out a little bit further, and we're going to continue talking about the rest of the storms further off to the west. And we've got some damage indicators down here, wind reports, broken trees, even a tornado there over in Holmes County earlier this morning. So a lot has been happening. Everything has come together as we were predicting here last night, and even, in fact, as early as last Monday, starting off the year with just some rain, but we could see down the line that we were going to have this storm system move through and that it was very likely that severe weather was going to happen in 8 days' notice here at WDHN for severe weather potential, and this is exactly what we were predicting, and it's happening right now. So again, we've got severe thunderstorm warnings, we've got tornado warnings just off to our south and for southeast Houston County down into Seminole County too. We've got very heavy rain, we've had large hail, a ping pong ball size, and we've also had damaging winds of 66 miles per hour reported at Dothan Regional Airport. Jordan, do you have any additional reports of winds in the area? That may be really helpful for us to continue painting the whole picture here.
We have seen wind gusts. The strongest one I've seen recently was about 30 to 45 minutes ago was when we gusted up to 66 miles per hour here in Dothan.
Yeah, that's what I was just talking about, the 66 mile per hour wind gusts reported at Dothan Regional Airport. Do want to point out here that severe thunderstorm warning has expired for the cell that moved through Dothan that produced the tornado south of Dothan, right in the heart of Houston County in the Wilson Quarters area, and also again, had the ping pong ball sized hail. National Weather Service had warned it for baseball sized hail. I haven't seen any reports of that, but if you were able to safely go outside and you heard some big thuds on your roof near the Dothan area, give us, go outside, take a picture for us. I think it is definitely safe to do so right now in Dothan. You've just got some rain in the area. Send that to us. Email us, news@WDHN.com, and we'll put that on air with credit to you so we can show folks the intensity of the storm from earlier today. We're also getting reporters to go out to the Wilson Quarters area so they can give us the update on what type of damage that they've seen out there. I think it was probably a weak tornado, so mainly tree damage, but not going to rule out the possibility of some damage to roofs or siding as well with any homes in the area. So we'll give you the latest updates on that tornado that did touch down here in central Houston County earlier, but has since lifted, and that system has weakened and is no longer warned for any part of our area. Further south, again, Marianna and Jackson County, we've got that tornado warned storm that looks like it's starting to wrap back up a whole lot more here. Let me pause this for you so you can see that hook. That is clear as day, a hook here on the southern side of that storm. So the rotation is picking back up. Let's check out our storm relative velocity, and you can see those greens and those reds interacting here due south of Mariana. For folks in Jackson County, you got to take this one seriously, all right? I do think that this is trying to put down another tornado if it hasn't already, just south of Mariana there along I-10 and Highway 90 here. So again, southern side of Mariana, tornado potential for sure. Let's check out our debris, see if anything's being lofted in the air. Not yet. I don't see a tornado on the ground just yet, but we're going to continue watching it. You see this little blip over here? I don't think that that lines up with what we were just watching, but let me circle it here. Going to be thinking out loud for you. Circle that, compare it to our storm relative velocity. It is displaced. Now, sometimes scans come in a little bit separately from each other. One's a minute ahead of another, so from one product to the next. So we'll watch and see if this moves directly over that and the potential debris signature is still there. Then we'll say that there's for sure a tornado on the ground once again. But I'm not quite buying it at this point. There's definitely strong shear within this portion of the storm, but we could already tell that from our storm relative velocity and from our regular velocity as well. Let's check this from Panama City's radar. That will give us a different debris look at this. And I think that we're seeing good signs right now that there's not one on the ground, but it's probably going to touch back down very soon, just south of Mariana or right in the heart of Mariana. Anyone there, if you have a mailing address that says Mariana, you got to get into your safe place, that innermost room, hallway, closet, bathroom, and take a pillow in there. Take the kids with you as well and the pets too, because there's a very high potential for a tornado to touch down in Mariana and central Jackson County. Once again, it's going to be moving out of Mariana here within the next 5 minutes or so. But again, this is, I think, and you can see with that latest update, those winds digging in here, I really think that a tornado is trying to form once again here in Jackson County. They already had one, this may be a second, and now it looks like we've got our debris signature back. So right here to the southeast of Mariana, looks like there is a new tornado that has touched down. And you compare that to our velocity, you see that red and green, same place that I circled that tornado debris signature. And that's also where we've got some purples happening within this storm. So it does look like another tornado has probably touched down now south of Mariana. Jordan, what you got?
They have now issued another severe thunderstorm warning for Houston County
Okay.
until 8 a.m. 70-mile-per-hour wind gusts are possible tornado as well.
Okay, and that is for the main line that's going to be moving through. That's not an individual storm. That's for the main line, and they've issued that for the entirety of Dale, the rest of Geneva County, the eastern side, Houston County, up into Henry County too. All of our counties here in southeast Alabama that we cover are now underneath severe thunderstorm warnings, all of them for 70-mile-per-hour winds and the potential for some brief spin-up tornadoes too. Anything tornado-wise that forms up here along this line of storms, that should be weaker than what has formed down there in the Florida Panhandle, because we just don't quite have the same ingredients here along the line of storms compared to what these storms are able to work with when it's an individual supercell. So it's a little bit different components that they're working with, but a tornado is a tornado. It can cause damage. Fortunately, though, I do think that anything that forms within this line is going to be probably weaker, probably shorter lived as well. A brief, weak, embedded tornado within the line of storms. So that's why they put the tornado possible tag for these storms for the entirety of southeast Alabama now, for all 5 counties that we include here in southeast Alabama, but not yet over into southwest Georgia. No warnings there, severe thunderstorm wise, but Seminole County is underneath that confirmed tornado tag or warning coming out of Jackson County into Seminole County. Jordan, what you got?
They reconfirmed the tornado in Mariana.
Okay. So they have confirmed what we were just talking about, that there is a tornado on the ground in Mariana. It has crossed over I-10 along Highway 90 there, and there is another tornado on the ground. So it lifted once it crossed into Jackson County. Now it's put down another tornado. Probably this is what we call cycling. Sometimes the storm weakens a little bit and then it strengthens again and weakens and strengthens. So what we're going to wait for is probably another weakening trend and then for it to potentially strengthen again once it gets to southeast Houston County, Seminole County, up into earlier Miller as well. So we'll be keeping a very close eye on this one. There's not necessarily a whole lot to be said for the storms that are coming from the west just yet. they've got torrential rain, and they very likely got winds above 60 miles per hour, up to 70 miles per hour possible. That can cause damage, just like a weak tornado. Could see some damage to trees, as in fallen trees. I mean, we've had a lot of rain here recently, multiple inches of rain across the area. So when you have inundated soils and that makes it really soft, it's easier for those trees to whip over and fall down. The good news is there aren't a lot of leaves on the trees, so you don't have as much surface area for that wind to slap against and push that tree over. So that's working in our favor here, considering the season that we're in. However, there's still the possibility, especially any trees that do still have some leaves on them, still the possibility of seeing straight line winds knock those trees over, or even just break down some dead branches. That's going to cause more power outages and the potential damage to houses as well. Jordan, if you could pull up the state or the region-wide view of power outages, that would be really helpful. Do that on links 2 for me, and we'll go to that in just a second here, but we're going to talk more about the storms that we still have on radar. So take your time with that. I just want to show folks all the power outages that we've seen here across the southeast. So let's go to our velocity product. We're going to look further off to the west, and it does look to me at this point, let's get our lightning off of here, like everything is straight line winds. Nothing is screaming to me that I see that there's notches, rotation within these storms. All looks like straight line winds to me for now, but that could change here soon. Yeah, I'm not seeing any pockets of clear rotation within those storms. So they did put the tornado possible tag, but that's because these storms are going to be moving into a favorable environment to create tornadoes. Doesn't mean that they're seeing tornadoes right now, but it's moving into an environment that's still favorable to create tornadoes. We've already seen one in Houston County. Don't doubt that we could see potentially another one here soon across southeast Alabama. Jordan, do you have those power outages pulled up for me? Okay. If you can't, that's all right, what you got right there. Let's just go over to Jordan's power outages on links 2. And these are all the power outages that we have. There are more here in southeast Alabama than we had earlier. Earlier, it was only Dale County and Henry County and Geneva, I think, that was reporting power outages. Now everybody in southeast Alabama is reporting power outages. A lot of folks, especially in western panhandle of Florida there, reporting power outages. Some of these counties reporting upwards of 5,000 power outages, like down in Bay County, over in Walton as well. Others, like Washington, up into Holmes, reporting roughly 1,000 or 100 or less in that dark blue that you see. So we don't have a whole ton, but you can tell that this is an impactful system causing the power outages. And of course, our folks here in the surrounding areas are going to be getting your power back on as fast as they possibly can. Those are some hard workers out there, our linemen and women that are out there. They're going to be working as soon as these storms get by to restore that power to you folks. Fortunately, these storms still look to be on track to be moving through by about 9 or 10 a.m. They're right on time for what we were expecting with all of the storms that are moving through right now. I think it's going to stay that way for the rest of the morning. Let's go back to our radar on links 1 and continue talking about the storms that are here and are moving through. Let's go down to Marianna first, because again, we have a tornado that touched down just about 5-6 minutes ago. Looks like it's south. If there is a tornado still, it's going to be just south or southeast of Greenwood there, still well south of Malone along 71, I believe, going into Marianna. So here's your green and your red. That's wind moving away. That's wind moving toward. It may be displaced a little bit here, but anywhere just southeast of Greenwood, and maybe we can get some of our smaller Chipola Terrace. There we go, Hatsfield Road, Calhoun Road, those that are along Amber Road. Those are all areas that this could potentially be moving through. 2 Egg, small community down there, but 2 Egg toward Buena Vista. That's where this storm is probably going to be moving. If it's not directly through 2 Egg in Buena Vista, it's going to be just off to your northwest. So that's where the storm in Jackson County is moving with the rotation. And definitely looks like we still got winds pushing out here on the southern side with that. And here is our shear as well. So I still think that there's a possibility of a tornado being produced. This may be a little bit of debris that's being lofted in the air. It's not quite as good of a feed as what we had earlier, but I think this right here, let's circle it for you guys. This may be the debris ball there in Jackson County. Let's go to our storm relative velocity. There's red and green touching. It was a little bit brighter just one scan ago, but that's where our higher velocity values are coming back. So, yeah, I do think that there's still the possibility of a tornado on the ground. Earlier it was very clear. Now it's a little bit more muddled, but still the possibility of a tornado on the ground just to the southeast of Greenwood, well south of Malone. Folks in Malone, you're underneath a tornado warning, but there is no tornado threat to you. I believe that this is going to stay just to the east of your area there in the center of Malone. I think it's going to stay east of you, but it could move up toward Lucy and Crosby in southeast Houston County. So that's what we're going to be watching for Houston County folks. This potential tornado is going to be moving up into southeast Houston County, clipping some of Seminole County just to the west of Donaldsonville, and eventually southern Early, western Miller as well. So if it stays on the ground, there's no guarantee that it will, though. I think it'll probably be a shorter-lived tornado compared to some of the others that we have seen so far today, because some of that energy has already been eaten up here as other storms previously moved through the same locations, so or at least close to them. We don't have any more tornado warnings up in southeast Alabama besides the one that is getting ready to move into Houston County here soon. So that's some good news. Looks like it's primarily straight line winds, 60 to 70 miles per hour further off to the west. Jordan, is the National Weather Service putting out any additional updates for us?
No additional updates on the Houston County storm. Well, the storm's headed towards Houston County.
Okay. Okay. All right. So no additional updates coming through. Again, it's going to be this main line. And then once that gets by, we're done. We are done for the event. For everybody once that passes by. It's almost 7 o'clock in the morning here. We've got those storms moving through Coffee and Geneva County as we speak, and they're going to continue moving in an eastward progression with the 60, 70 mile per hour winds possible, anywhere within there. Not guaranteed that everyone's going to see damage, but everyone will see winds above 50 miles per hour up to 70 miles per hour possible within these storms. It may not stick around for a long time, though. It's a decent moving little system here, and it's going to continue pushing through southeast Alabama into southwest Georgia. We're going to stick with it until it is east of Early County. All right, so we're going to stay with this through about 10 a.m. Most likely is when it's going to end. That would be 11 a.m. for those over in Early County, but somewhere between 9 and 10 a.m. Central Time is when this is all going to come to an end, and the rest of your Tuesday is going to be significantly calmer. Let's redirect our attention back down here to Jackson County, where we've just gotten those latest scans coming in of the confirmed tornado warning down here. Now well to the north of Mariana. So for folks that were in Mariana and were impacted by this storm, there was definitely a tornado just to the south or southeast of the city itself. Now it doesn't look like we have that. There is no more threat for Mariana from this particular storm. It's now more so just east of Greenwood, southeast of Malone, where we have that potential for a tornado. Let's check the velocity here. We're going to pause it. And yeah, definitely still getting some decent readings of red and green to each other. In fact, there are two different areas that we're watching now. One just east of Greenwood, one a little further east of Greenwood. I think this would be the spot where we have a little bit better rotation here. Very high winds going back toward our Dothan radar here. So these are winds going north and northwest. That's a very strong read going back up toward the Dothan radar. So definitely winds trying to wrap back into the storm here. So for folks that are, again, 2 Egg and just to the west or northwest of 2 Egg, there you go, to the north of 2 Egg and west of Buena Vista and in Buena Vista itself, all of those folks need to be in their safe place as fast as possible. Anyone that's between Greenwood, Malone, 2 Egg, and Buena Vista, all of those folks need to be in their safe place right now because of the potential of a tornado forming again or is currently on the ground. Looks basically like the same that we saw earlier east of Greenwood, so there still may be a tornado debris signature here just to the east of Greenwood. Let's circle that, see if it lines up with one of those areas of circulation that we were watching. And I highly believe it will. The red and the green touching here east of Greenwood, that may be that tornado debris signature formed here in Jackson County. So again, there are two areas to watch. One that I think is the more likely to produce a tornado at this point, just based off of the debris signature that we just saw, and then another one further off to the east that may be trying to spin something up here as well in the 2 Egg and Buena Vista area. But this, what I've circled east of Greenwood, is the more likely spot to be seeing a tornado right now because of the debris signature that we just saw from our Dothan radar. Let me pull that back up for you here. You see that green and that yellow in there? That's where we have potential debris in the air. We can also check it from Panama City. That'll give us a different read. There may be something interfering. And if it did move, it just moved up here. There may have been something interfering with our radar earlier. So let's go back to Dothan radar. It does look like the storm has moved at that latest scan and still to the northeast. It's not a super well-defined storm like what we saw earlier with some of our other tornadoes and the hooks that were associated with those ones, but it's definitely a storm that is very potent and potentially producing a tornado down there in Jackson County. It's getting closer to the southeastern tip of Houston County and Seminole County too. I think that this is more on a trek to be either Lucy or Donaldsonville here. Lucy to Donaldsonville will probably see the higher threat for a tornado here. So not deep into Houston County, which is why only a little bit of Houston County is underneath the warning, but basically Lucy along 95 there toward Donaldsonville is where this hook is going to be moving towards. So we're going to be keeping a close eye on this storm. Jordan, if you could take over for me for just a minute, that would be helpful. And again, you could just talk about things from the desk here. We're going to put this into motion as you talk. And go over just what we've seen here recently and what we do expect here down the line, all right?
Okay. So what we've seen recently is the first round of thunderstorms, and this is what came up from the Gulf of Mexico. We talked about this earlier in the morning in our Facebook Live, how there were going to be some storms that come off the Gulf of Mexico, lift up to the north, and bring the possibility of some strong winds and the possibility of tornadoes. Now, that threat isn't quite over yet, but just to the west of us, this is where the main line is. And the good news is after that main line moves through, the severe threat will be over. But again, we have severe thunderstorm warnings across pretty much all of our DMA, which could include wind gusts up to 70 miles per hour. Now, regarding the tornado warning near Mariana, again, they're still dealing with that, and it's moving to the northeast, closer to the Donaldsonville area, near Jackson and Seminole counties. Now, that doesn't mean that portions of Houston County are out of that warning. Again, I want you guys to still take heed to that. And if you take a look as we go further into that tornado warning, it looks like it's going to pass closer to Donaldsonville. But again, that doesn't mean you're necessarily out the woods. You can still see heavy rain and the possibility of some hail. Now, zooming back out, there are some other tornado warnings popping off on the southern portions of the line of these storms. Just south of Geneva County and west of Crestview, we have 2 new tornado warnings actually near just to the west of Crestview along I-10. Let me see if I can move that to the west. And for Walton County, Florida, up until 7:30 Central, and this is moving to the northeast as well. So again, with the second main line of storms, we could see brief spin-ups with these tornadoes. So we're not necessarily going to see tornadoes, but some of these straight line winds could produce brief spin-ups. Now, some of these tornadoes, at least along the line, are usually going to be weaker than the ones that we're seeing compared to the ones we're seeing near Mariana and Jackson County going into Seminole County as well. So we're still getting some rain as of right now in the Circle City and just to the north, and some more rain moving into Early County and just to the north of Bainbridge near Donaldsonville as that cell continues to move to the northeast. And again, to the west of us, that's our main line of storm, and that's going to move into our area within the next 1 to 2 hours, possibly even up till 9 o'clock. And then once we get past 10 a.m. to 11, the threat will diminish significantly, which is going to help us. So after that moves through, we're going to get some cold air in, and then the threat will be over. So any plans that you have during your daytime hours, I'll recommend that you do everything after the line clears. Once the line clears, the rest of your day is going to shape up pretty well. We might actually see the sun come out towards your evening time hours, but we have to get through this main line first. And for the first round is pretty much ending. We're still dealing with that one cell near Donaldsonville going into the southeastern portions of Houston County. But after that, it looks like we're just going to have to deal with this main line. It looks like it's just to the west of Enterprise. And again, 70-mile-per-hour winds are possible, and a brief spin-up can't be ruled out at the moment. So again, it doesn't necessarily mean we're going to see tornadoes, but the possibility is there. But we can see straight line winds up to 70 miles per hour. Like Matthew did say, it is equivalent to a weak tornado. So I want you guys to stay inside, stay safe, and then also we do have the possibility of that, and it's going to continue to move to the east, and it's moving fairly slowly.
Thank you, Jordan. So again, we have possibility of a lot of things still going on here. We do have those 2 new tornado warnings down there in the Florida Panhandle. I believe that's Walton County, correct? That's got those 2 warnings in it. One south of I-10, one north of I-10. So we're getting ready to cross I-10 here soon. They're not confirmed. They are radar indicated tornadoes. So we're going to watch those ones to see if they do become confirmed here soon. The southern one goes until 7:30 for Walton County, and the northern one, go ahead and click on that, Jordan. That one also goes until 7:30.
Yeah.
So both of these expire at 7:30. But if they're extended, the northern one would potentially make its way into western or central Geneva County. So from the southern side, of course. So that's what we're going to be monitoring here over the next 30 minutes or so, is if the rotation is able to make its way further north into our area. We've also gotten some pictures of some very large hail from the Taylor area that upwards of baseball sized. National Weather Service nailed that one on the head. And you know, when they said that there was the potential for it, and I have seen now the pictures of it. So we're going to try and get that on air and show you guys here soon from the storm that moved through Houston County earlier. So again, that's what we've seen earlier, but we don't have any large hail threats within these storms, at least not at this point. Correct, Jordan?
No, not at the moment.
Okay. All right, so we're going to hop back on the green screen here in just a second. And again, we're going to try and get these photos up on air for you guys and online as well. So pretty intense situation overall here. We thought that hail would be one of the lower threats, and it definitely has in the overall grand scheme of things. But baseball-sized hail was not necessarily on our bingo card here to start off 2024. So, but tornadoes, damaging winds, still definitely a possibility for the rest of this time that we are going to be covering these all of these warnings for you guys. So, multiple tornado warnings down in the Florida Panhandle. Let's reiterate all of this here for you. We've had the confirmed tornado. If you guys can mute your mics, we've got the confirmed tornado down in Jackson County, and that is for a storm that's now moved or is crossing over state lines into Georgia or southern Alabama. Let's zoom in on that one. Let's see if there's a tornado with it right now. It is right on the tri-state line here. Alabama and Houston County, Florida, Jackson County, Seminole County to Early County here in Georgia. So this is our debris detector. Looks like we have some loss of values, but it's really not what we're typically looking for. There's no well-defined tornado debris signature within this storm. Let's check our storm relative velocity. We do see some red and green jutting up against each other, again, in two different areas, so there's still the possibility of a tornado here, but it's just not as well defined as it was earlier. When we knew that there was for sure a tornado on the ground, it doesn't quite look that way any longer. But there are definitely very strong winds moving back into the storm and trying to kick things up here. So there are two different areas that we're watching for rotation here. One to the east, one a little bit further off to the west with red and green touching each other. Jordan, if you could ask for some clarification from them, from the National Weather Service, where they think the best rotation is within this storm, that would be helpful. As it's moving into Seminole County, Early County, and what their thoughts are on a downward or down the line warning here with the storm, because it's about to move out of the warned area here with this purple blinking box that you see. That's the tornado warning. Go ahead. You can turn your mic back on. I can't hear you.
They did just release another tornado warning, but it's radar indicated.
Okay, radar indicated tornado warning, and they did include both of these little couplets that we're watching here. They included both of them, not just one, but both. So this is the one that's in the center of the tornado warning, so I think that's going to be the one that they're more focused on. But further off to the west, there is another area of potential rotation within this storm. It may just be some bad feed coming back here on the radar, but I do think that both of them are worth watching here with this storm. The new warning, as Jordan mentioned, the new warning is radar indicated. That's why it's a red box instead of a purple one. When we see a purple box, that's a confirmed tornado on the ground. We know damage is happening, or we can see a tornado with our eyes. So either debris is being lofted, and we see that on radar, or we can see a tornado from a storm spotter or trained meteorologist out there in the field. When you see just a red box, that means it's a radar indicated tornado, possibility of more of rotation causing a tornado here, but we don't have any confirmation. So that's what we're seeing right now. It's moving into Seminole County, the main area of rotation, and it's going to be either moving into Donaldsonville or just west of Donaldsonville along 84 within the next few minutes. So for the folks over there in Seminole County, we really do want you to know and get into your safe place. If you are along River Turn, Little Hope, up to Donaldsonville and Pine Lake Estates, all of those areas and north toward 84, got to be in your safe place right now. Once you get north of 84 itself in Seminole County up into Miller and Early County, you have a few minutes here before you have to be for sure into your safe place. But know where it is, know where that innermost room, hallway, bathroom, closet is, and figure out, take some pillows in there with you, some blankets, that sort of thing. Sit there on your phone. We're going to continue monitoring this one as it has, at any point that it has a threat to, especially Early County, Miller, and down there into Seminole County. We're going to stick with that tornado warning. So get into that safe place, start heading in that direction, continue watching us on your phone, or go ahead and turn us up as loud as possible with the TV in the living room so you can continue hearing us talk about that storm over there. Let's go further to the west where we have more tornado warnings here in the Florida Panhandle. And we mentioned this yesterday that our highest threat for tornadoes, especially the stronger tornadoes, was going to be down in the Florida Panhandle, and that is what we are seeing right now. Torrential rain with this storm as well. All of this purple in here is extremely torrential rainfall here, a ton of it. So as this moves through the Florida Panhandle, you're getting high winds up to 60 miles per hour. You're getting a tornado threat. You're also getting a flash flooding threat. And let's see if there's some hail threat within there as well. Yes, the possibility of some smaller, quarter-sized or less, most likely, hail within those storms as well. So let's go back to the main threats, which are the velocity, or excuse me, the potential tornadoes in here. They'd be very small notches in the line. We haven't seen any of these in Alabama, but we've got better severe weather components down in the Florida Panhandle. These little notches are what we're looking for here. So right in here, I think, is where we probably have the potential for a tornado. Let's zoom a little bit further south. It's going to be to the west of, and I'm probably going to say this wrong, but Cosin Mill. It's well west of Defuniak Springs, and it's moving in a way that I think it will stay outside of Defuniak Springs, or at least downtown Defuniak Springs. That's the first area that I see that jumps out at me right away. Further south, I don't see anything real that jumps out real fast except for this down here. Let me check radar. Yeah, I'm not necessarily seeing a whole lot that jumps out real fast down further south. So that may have been something that was happening a little bit earlier that we didn't quite see here at WDHN. Again, this isn't necessarily our viewing area, but we like to monitor these storms, especially when they have a track that could take them northward. If this one west of Defuniak Springs continues northeast, it's going to move into the western part of Geneva County. So let's call out some folks that are over in that area. It's going to be towards Sampson, but south of you guys first, obviously, along 153 and 87 here in Geneva County. Somewhere within there is most likely where the area of rotation could potentially make its way up to. I do think with the movement of the storms, they should be a little bit more westerly, so I am surprised with the way that this is drawn. I think it actually may be a little bit deeper into Geneva County, central, south central, or eastern, if any of that rotation manages to make its way up here. Jordan, if you could find the track of these tornado warnings for me, how fast they're moving from west to east, and if there's expectation for this rotation to be moving up the line as opposed to with the line, that would be helpful. So, yeah, and there's definitely shear all up and down this line. This is what you would expect to see with the QLCS shear all up and down the line. So anywhere within here, little notches could form and quick, brief, spin-up tornadoes possible. Jordan, what you got?
Looks like they're moving along the line northeast at 60 miles per hour.
Okay, northeast along the line at 60 miles per hour rather than just with the line due east. Definitely an interesting setup there, but not something that's entirely surprising. So, all right. For those that may just now be joining us, you're waking up to some very heavy rain, probably some pretty frequent lightning as well, some rumbles of thunder, especially for those that are further west. Our storms here right in the heart of the tri-state, not as loud, not as much lightning, definitely heavy rain, even tornado potential with them as well, with that tornado-warned storm in southern Early County, Miller, down into Seminole County as well. I think that the threat has moved out of Houston and Jackson County at this point. So I think you guys over there in Lucy, Crosby are all clear, and those in northwest or northeastern Jackson County are also clear at this point. If you're further west from Coffee County, northwestern Dale County, down into Geneva County, and down into Walton, you're waking up to some loud noises out there, a lot of thunder, a lot of wind. We're starting to really pick that up here in Webb as well, and this is ahead of the main line. These are very fast-moving winds within this storm, and this is well ahead of the main line. I mean, it's really whipping out there at this point. So I do think that 60 to 70 mile per hour winds are possible with this storm that's moving through Houston County right now. It's going to be causing power outages for some folks. That's why we were telling you yesterday, keep your phone charged, and we want you to join us on Facebook Live or on WDHN.com, where we are continuing to stream our coverage there. Outside of the storms themselves, 40 to 50 mile per hour winds are still possible. So that damage could be caused to tree limbs that would cause even more power outages. So a lot going on with all the storms that we have in our area as we speak. This is going to be going on through about 9 or 10 a.m. We've got at least a couple more hours that we've got to move these storms through here. 2 to 3 more hours, and then everything will be done, all right? Especially for southeast Alabama first, then eventually southwest Georgia and the rest of the Florida Panhandle. A new severe thunderstorm warning just issued for a large portion of the central Florida Panhandle. The western part, from basically Crestview and points off to the west, in the clear from any severe weather at this point. It's just some light rain remaining, and there will be a few more showers past I-65 that will continue moving through. But for the rest of us in southeast Alabama, the rest of the Florida Panhandle and southwest Georgia, we've already gotten a taste of severe weather with the storms out ahead of the front. Now the front itself is moving through, and those storms along the front producing 60 to 70 mile per hour winds, potentially some embedded tornadoes, and very torrential rainfall, as well as a whole lot of lightning. We're not seeing large hail along this portion of the line of storms just yet. Not going to rule it out, but it's a lower threat than everything else. So, all right, that's the breakdown. Storms continuing through probably 10 o'clock here Central Time, as late as 11 o'clock for those over in Eastern Time. And tornadoes, damaging winds, still the main threat, especially those damaging straight line winds, and flash flooding still a possibility with multiple inches of rain to come here, another 2+ inches in some locations. We are definitely not in the clear when it comes to the possibility of some flash flooding as well. We've gotten some large hail reports too. Art, if you could tell me if we've gotten some of those pictures back in of the large hail, not the previous video we were showing, but the new ones that Joseph's going to be sending your way. Let me know. Okay, I haven't seen them yet. In a little bit here, our goal is to show you guys some of the hail reports that we've already had. Insurance claims undoubtedly are going to be made here on some of these homes. And it's not just the hail. That was a previous threat. That threat has gone down, but damaging winds and tornadoes will continue here. So, it is going to be a very loud start to the day. If you can, I'd say that the safest thing you can do is go ahead and text your boss, call your boss. I know a lot of businesses closed, schools obviously closed, and for good reason. Could you imagine buses being out at 7 o'clock with this stuff going on? It was a great call by the school systems out there that decided to close for the day and do online virtual school learning. I commend them for that for sure. I think it was the best decision they could have made. So if you are thinking about driving in this, it's a really bad call. If you could take a half day at work, that's the best option for you, because again, this stuff is going to be moving through. For those in Coffee County, it'll move through your area first. It's already in your area. You give it another hour, it'll be out of Coffee County and fully into Dale County at that point. If you want to go to work on the wet roadways in the last little bit of rain, you can do so. Your severe weather threat will be over. But for the rest of the area, you'll still have another couple hours to go. Let's just get this line past you before you decide to go out anywhere across the Wiregrass. And even if you do go out when the line is already by, you may be driving along roadways that other people haven't yet, and there could be downed trees or power lines, damage to roadways, and with the flash flooding potential, there's still going to be the possibility of flooding across roadways with some of our local rivers and creeks. That could cause an issue, and the last thing you want to do is drive through a flooded roadway and your car get pushed off the road. All you need is about 6 inches of rushing water to sweep a person off their feet and a foot of rushing water in order to move a car. And in order to float one, 2 feet, I don't think that we'll get to that point. But to move a car that's driving on a road, only a foot of water. So if you see any water that's rushing across the roadway, turn around, don't drown. That's the safest thing that you could possibly do. The last thing you want to do is have your car go off the roadway. So again, torrential rainfall, damaging winds, and tornado threat still expected through this morning. Let's zoom back into some of these storms, and we'll take all of our lightning off of here. And we may have some questions coming in from viewers. Jordan, if you could relay some of those to me, some of the more pertinent ones, if you see any on our Facebook Live. And if you don't, it's okay. And we're going to keep talking about things here. Don't do it on links 1. You may have to go into to Richard and get some of those questions from him over in the newsroom. Awesome. You know what? If you've got Rehoboth hail, let's bring that back up for us there, Art. And here's some large hail. This is definitely bigger than ping pong ball sized hail. I don't know exactly how large this person's hand is. This is roughly ping pong ball sized hail, but the one that we just showed before, bigger than that. These stones are huge. This is baseball sized hail for sure. This is back down to roughly ping pong ball sized hail. But that picture you just saw, that's a lot of very large hailstones. You're getting a free roof. It's everybody in that area is probably going to be getting some roof replacements here because there is damage. When you have ping pong ball sized hail, that can cause damage. When you have something bigger than that, it's for sure going to cause damage to your roof, especially this next picture that's coming up here with that baseball sized hail. Those are big hailstones. Those are absolutely knobby, big hailstones. And that was over in the Taylor to Rehoboth area and moved into Dothan itself. So I'm surprised that we don't have even more pictures coming in of the hail that moved through Houston County. Let's get back to the situation that we have right now on radar, though. That was our previous threat, but hail is not our big threat anymore. Now it's the damaging winds and embedded tornadoes. We still have that tornado warning over in southwest Georgia. Let's focus in on that one first. And the reason I haven't been talking about it as much is because it looked like that threat was going down a little bit. But we'll go to our velocity scans. And it may have, actually, with that latest scan, maybe picking back up a little bit. You see those real bright greens and the reds right in here. Let's circle that. We don't have great structure with the storm based on the last scan that I just saw. But these are winds moving out. In red, green is moving toward. So this is the winds that are wrapping around each other. And at this point, there's no longer 2 areas of circulation. There's only one succinct area of circulation here, fully engulfed in Miller County. So no longer a threat to southern Early County. If you're in Early County, southern Early County specifically, there is not a threat of a tornado for you. But could it still move up toward eastern Early County? Absolutely. Those that are south of Damascus in eastern Early County, this could very well be a threat for you. Along and east of 27, you saw that they just cut back a lot of that warning. So now fully out of Seminole County, no longer a threat to the Donaldsonville folks. But this is our area of rotation. Let's see if there's any debris being lofted in the air. I don't see it, so I don't think that there's a tornado on the ground at this point, or at least not one that's causing damage. And let's go to our radar scans and check the, it's still got a bit of an inflow notch right in here. Right in there is our inflow to the storm and the winds wrapping around it. So definitely still a storm that could produce a tornado. I just don't think that it is right now. So Miller County is not technically our viewing area, but we are covering you right now because I do think that there's the potential that this could drop a tornado west of 27 there in Miller County. So if you're in western Miller County, definitely get into your safe place. You'll only need to be there for roughly the next 10 minutes or so, and then that storm is going to move out of your area. For the rest of us here, Houston County, Henry County, Dale, Geneva, and even the eastern portion and southern portion of Coffee County. We still have the threat for damaging winds of 60 to 70 miles per hour, as well as the threat of tornadoes, some embedded tornadoes within this line. Nothing yet screams to me that we've got the potential for rotation. I'm going to check this area in in western Geneva County first, though. And that's the only spot along this line that giving me any indication just based on radar presentation right now. But I don't see, all right, good. I don't see any notches forming in the line here in southern Alabama for tornado potential. So, Brian, if you could ask the National Weather Service if they see any rotation along this line in southern Alabama. I know that they've seen some down in the Florida Panhandle, which is why they've got a couple tornado warnings down there. But even those look like they've weakened, the rotation down in that direction, especially the one that's warned just north and west of Defuniak Springs. I think they're going to let that one expire. Well, it goes until 7:30. I wouldn't be surprised if they expired it early, though, because that leading edge of the line of storms is moving out of the warning here soon and a little bit faster than what it's actually warned for. And it just doesn't look like there's any rotation along that portion of the storm. You know what? We're maybe looking from Dothan's radar. Let's check it from Panama City. That'll give us a better look. And when you get closer to the storm system, oftentimes you can see it a little bit better. And I do see some more rotation here north of Defuniak Springs. Yeah, there you go. There it's tightened up here along, I think that's 83, north of Defuniak Springs most likely. So that's where we have potential rotation here north of Defuniak Springs along State Road 83 there, or Highway 83. And yeah, that'll be one to watch for them. Let's check debris signature. Not seeing any debris up in the air. That's from Dothan, though. We want to check from Panama City. Don't see any debris from Panama City. So better rotation from Panama City. Let's check the shear. Definitely have some shear along this as well. You can actually see shear further out ahead of it and then being pushed back in. And back to our velocity. Velocity is not showing. And that I may have clicked the wrong one there. Velocity, yes. Okay, there we go. So that's because I was, again, from the wrong radar. We want to get the radar that's closest to that tornado warning, and that's going to be Panama City. And you can see the radar beams coming out right here. So that's our cone of silence where the radar is located. It can't see anything directly above it. But over here along 83 there, north of Defuniak Springs is where there's definitely some rotation. Further south, it looks like there may be a little bit of rotation east of Freeport as well. And Freeport already had a tornado earlier today, early this morning. So again, the Panhandle's been hit harder than those here in southeast Alabama. We've got mainly a damaging wind threat with embedded tornadoes possible. Down there in the Florida Panhandle, they've had a damaging wind threat and tornadoes more likely possible down there. I'm going to zoom out a little bit further here. Take that off. And we're going to go back to our radar scans from Dothan and just review the whole area. I don't see any additional new warnings that have come out, whether related to severe thunderstorms or even tornadoes at this point. What you got for me, Jordan?
So right now, they have answered your question. They said as of right now, they're just looking for indications of straight line winds.